On December 14, 2023, police in Broomfield, Colorado received a call from a man requesting a welfare check on his wife, Kristil. Daniel Krug had grown alarmed when 43-year-old Kristil stopped responding to her phone several hours ago.
Broomfield Dispatcher speaking.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird.
Okay.
My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls.
Okay.
We've had threats against us. She was supposed to meet with Detective Martinez today, but I can't get a hold of him. Can I get either someone in the house to check in with Martinez, or maybe both, maybe a wellness check at the house?
Yeah.
The Krug family may have been dealing with some unsettling incidents lately, and an officer is quickly sent to investigate.
Hello.
Oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me like, oh, see if she'll answer the
Oh yeah, he sent us as well, so.
Yeah, I'm like, I will check.
Just next door? Okay.
All right, well, you got this.
Alrighty, man. Appreciate it. Oh. 151, send medical, and 110. I need a 4th sentry. I got a female down in the garage. Broomfield Police! Broomfield Police! Oh shit. Holy shit.
The officer has just discovered an unresponsive Kristil lying in a pool of blood on the garage floor. Kristil's suffering from what appears to be a head injury.
151.
151.
Go ahead and send the next unit emergent, please. I need to clear this house. I'm not sure what this head wound is right now.
Copy. I have 3 units coming your way.
I need to tag out, man. She's got a head wound. I don't know if it's from falling or something else, but probably falling, but I don't know, man. It's a good one. Yep. Husband said there was a stalker threatening to kidnap her, so I don't know.
110, I go to find Detective Sergeant.
Oh, she's not. No, she's unresponsive. Decent head wound.
Where we have more room at the head.
Backup officers arrived to secure the house. If Kristil's injuries were indeed caused by a stalker, he could still be on the premises.
We're going to clear the house. Medics are in the garage.
Entering the front door.
Good. We got you.
Broomfield Police, anybody inside? Make yourself known.
One coming in the front door. We got you, man. He's here.
Broomfield Police, anybody inside? Broomfield Police, 3rd and final warning, anybody inside? Hey, hand me that, Alright, move up to, you got the stairs, Walker? Alright, cool. I'm gonna move it to the kitchen.
I got a couple rooms to the left over here. Let me know when you're coming around. The RP said there was a stalker threatening kidnapping, so just heads up on that. You got my left?
Broomfield Police.
Clear here, coming out. I don't know what that other door is. Closet.
Broomfield Police.
Coming back out. Alright, just got upstairs.
Okay. You got closed door right, open door straight.
I got, you go one way, I got the other.
You guys take the open door off.
Five doors
Okay.
right.
Open door all sides, man. I'm going straight. Another one on the left.
Yeah, no,
See what they
we'll,
need. I kicked that, yeah.
No,
That's interesting. Yeah. That is very interesting. Almost like dude might have stuck around from this way and
I wonder if maybe the door was unlocked. That's how he got in.
Officers find the house empty and no signs of forced entry, but they've noticed something disturbing. Masking tape has been placed over the home's doorbell camera. More troubling still, they're about to learn that Kristil has suffered more than a head injury.
guys, you see anything other than a fall type of wound?
What's that? Gash on the chest.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's a stab wound on the chest.
Damn it.
Kristil has stab wounds to her heart and 2 blunt force injuries to the head. Tragically, she has succumbed to her injuries. This routine welfare check has turned into a homicide investigation. It's time to deliver the news to Kristil's distraught family, including her husband, Dan.
I didn't protect her. I was supposed to protect her.
I let them know about the I'm never going to tell her that I'm going to say nobody says anything. We're just going to tell her that it's just we're not going to tell her. We don't tell her. This is a family matter. We're just going to figure out a reunification.
I need to protect
We'll take care of it. We'll just make sure that transportation.
It's on the county. 4.
Take a deep breath. It's a 4.
It's at 4. It's at 4. She had to be picked up early to make it.
Okay, it's Dan. Dan, that's right. Dan, I need you to breathe through your nose. Not through your mouth.
Dan appears heartbroken, repeatedly retching and struggling to breathe. While it's too late for police to save this beloved wife and mother, they can help bring Kristil's killer to justice, and they already have a suspect firmly in their sights.
Kristil, Officer Hendry.
Yeah, nice to
Very
meet
good
you.
to meet you. I talked to Detective Martinez, so I kind of have an
Yes.
idea what's going on.
Yes.
This is Kristil Krug, just 1 month before she'll be found dead in that very same garage. Kristil is a loving mother of 3 with a successful career as a biochemical engineer. But 6 weeks ago, her world began collapsing. She first made contact with police on October 31st.
Broomfield Police.
Yes, hi there. I need to report threatening emails and phone calls from a stalking ex.
Is there a restraining order in place between you two?
There's not, but I would definitely be curious about getting one, considering it's been threatened with violence against both me and my family.
Okay. And is it text messages, phone calls?
I have text messages and an email today that had a picture of my husband threatening to put something in his tailpipe.
Kristil tells the officer that Anthony Holland, a man she had dated in high school, recently began sending her threatening texts and emails. For years, Anthony had been trying to reconnect with Kristil through Facebook. Kristil eventually blocked him, but on October 2nd, he reached out again, this time by text. As the weeks have gone by, the messages have become increasingly threatening and explicit. "I'll get rid of him and we can be together," one read. Another stated, "You don't belong in that big house." Some criticized her husband Daniel, one calling him her loser husband. "You don't want him. I know you want me." Soon, Kristil discovers that Anthony has posted her details on a hookup site. By the time this officer is called to the house, Kristil is living in a constant state of terror. She believes Anthony is following her.
Are you sure he is actually putting eyes on you and following you, or is he just saying stuff that's specific but general enough that he could? You're like, oh.
So the only way that I could think of that
this event that he would be able to say what he did without putting eyes on me is if he had a tracker on my phone and my phone picked up literally in that building and it didn't pick up any of the other surrounding buildings. But otherwise, like where I parked and then where I went to tell me that I went into my dentist.
Yeah, that's
on
that
that street
weird.
when there's like so many other businesses there. The only other one is that he had taken a picture of my husband getting out of his vehicle.
Where?
In Denver.
Okay.
And was like within like a certain range. So that's the only one that I have that's confirmation that like he would have seen. But again.
All right. When did he pop back up?
So first text message was back in October.
Okay.
Just threats.
Just out of nowhere? Just popped back?
He does this, and he's been doing it for over 20 years.
Okay. So this
is the first time it's this violent and aggressive. Normally it's hey, how's it going?
Okay.
Nope. So the last contact was, I'm guessing, more than 5 years ago, just because it was I had a Facebook account at the time, and I don't have that, and haven't had it since pre-pandemic, so.
Okay.
Easily, like, whatever, how many years before that. Yeah, no, completely out of the blue, and I'm not engaging at all, so there's absolutely no response from me.
Okay.
And he's still going. The in-person stuff that's scaring the crap out of me, and why I logged this was starting since last Tuesday, and it's been almost every day since.
Okay.
I've gotten a few days break.
The officer finds nothing amiss with her car, but he is unable to offer much in the way of help. The elusive Anthony has no fixed address, leaving Kristil unable to file a protective order. Little does this officer know that he'll be back at that house in just a few weeks from now.
We're going to hope that this goes, but I have to tell you, because of the longevity of this always going on, he will never stop. Yeah. He will never stop.
Well, and I mean, here's the deal. I mean, we can get him, you know, if we can get him either charged, we can get him found out. You know, you can't hit him with that protection order. And,
right. Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as he does anything, then it's jail.
Yes.
I mean, it's you know, it's that simple.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's the nice thing with those is there's no, you know, you go, hey, look, he sent me this message. Okay, there's no investigation. There's no nothing. It's jail. I mean, it's easy. Right? It says he shall not contact you. Period.
Yeah.
So that's the only investigation that I need to do. You have it? Yep. Can you send me a picture of that? Yep. Okay. We'll go find him. So I would recommend, like I said, make sure you're keeping doors closed, locked, all that good stuff. I mean,
We've got cameras now everywhere around the property.
All right. I'm just trying to think of anything else I could recommend to you to try to help.
Yeah,
so.
And I'm going to also get my permit for my concealed carry. So yes, I will be making sure I am protected.
But this will turn out harder than they imagine. Soon after his visit, Dan calls 911 after catching sight of a man on their property.
Nice to meet you.
Johnson, nice to meet you.
That sounds like 450s with dispatch at. Okay.
Yeah, so I ran out at 4:15, 4:20ish.
Okay.
So I left. I watched the garage door closing, not necessarily closed.
Sure. Okay.
My wife drove that point home on me. Ran up to the store. I came back about 4:50, 4:55.
Okay.
As I came down, the door was open.
The bigger one or the third?
The double bay door.
Okay.
So as I pulled in, I saw someone. I think it was a guy, but it was so fast.
Yeah.
Blue jeans, gray shirt, run out, jump over my gate, and take off that way.
Got it. Okay.
I cared less about following him than getting inside and checking on my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
My daughter is adamant no one came in the house.
Okay.
She never heard the garage door open. She was in the living room right next to it.
Okay.
My wife and I tested her, and I opened and closed the garage door, and she couldn't hear it over the TV anyway.
Okay, got it.
In November, Kristil meets with Detective Martinez at the Bloomfield Police Station. She shows him a detailed log of every incident, every text, and every photo from Anthony.
Okay, hi. Yes, I know. Yes, it's been a little harrowing, I gotta say. For the most part, you know, anything that I had interactions before, I have never dealt with like this kind of level in like a online version, and I think to myself of like advice that I give to my kids, I'm like, watch out for online people, and I'm like, this is exhausting. This is really, like, I can't believe like any kids would be dealing with stuff like this that comes from all directions at any time. Oh, yeah. You know, it's it's a lot, and it has definitely made me like paranoid everywhere I go, unfortunately. So
no, I can completely understand that.
yeah. Oh, and I keep trying to remind myself this is intending to be terrorizing. This is intending to scare me. So like I'm like here, you know, like he says, let's get together. I'm like, no. Here he says, let's get together. I'm like, I have a serious boyfriend. Like we were living together at this time, and he's like, screw your boyfriend. And then I got married in 2007. He's reaching out to me. He can see I have a kid. This is my profile picture of like my kid. And I'm like, I have a family. No. And then again, where I'm like, I'm married with children, all the way here. So. I mean, like, he saw, like, full pictures of my family, of my kids. Like, I locked down my profile real fast after this because it was pretty alarming, right? Where he's like, we're meant to be together, and my family loves that we're talking. And I'm like, whoa, you think that we're, like, in a relationship? Right. So I shut it down real hard. I said, this is really creepy for me. You need to stop. I'm married, happily married with children. You need to stop. And he got, like, real emotional, real hurt. It wasn't angry, but it was hurt and real, like, over-the-top emotions. And then blocked me on, because you can see when somebody blocks you on Facebook, and I'm like, good. And I blocked him, and I'm like, and then I shut down Facebook entirely before the pandemic. Okay. So like there was no way to get a hold of me on any kind of old email address or old way, and that's when this starts.
Kristil is about to reveal something that will later prove highly significant. She tells police that Anthony's behavior has changed. In the past, he was annoying and a little creepy. Now, he's downright terrifying.
He's never said this kind of stuff to me before, so whatever. And the fact that it went so emotional is like something's really wrong here. Then things go dark, right? And this is when I then contact you guys, because this now is escalating. This is not just threats against me, it's threats against my husband. There was nothing in the relationship other than him being like stupid with stuff that was ever violent. It was more like I was going to college. I was like on an engineering track. There was just total different lifestyle choices. We argued, but never like in a violent way. It was just, he was super emotional. You can see this where it just flares up. I'm like, dude, what is going on? So anyway, I broke it off with him, and we ended fairly amicably. So I just see him as pretty unstable, honestly. Back in the day, harmless. Dumb, but harmless. Now, I have no idea what this is. I don't know this person anymore, right? So
the officer tells her that the digital search warrants have been issued for the IP and cell phone data connected to those messages, but it could be weeks or even months before these are issued. In the meantime, Detective Martinez questions Kristil's husband, Dan.
So I understand that Kristil has been working on wrapping her own head around self-defense type stuff. What have you been doing?
Largely being paranoid for the last few days. She didn't want me to panic, so she didn't share all of the details of the log. And so, as I got all of the details, my panic level has gone considerably higher. Not now, because I'm in a police station.
Sure.
And honestly, this is the safest I've felt since Monday at lunch. My brother Matthew is a cop, so I have a retractable ASP steel baton. As I said, not right now, but otherwise, it's on me all the time. I sleep with it next to me. I went to the grocery store briefly on Tuesday, and someone behind me dropped a can, and I fucking panicked. So what am I doing? I'm panicking. And I'm doing a shit job of protecting my wife. So I'm not doing good.
Yeah, I can see that. You both read one at a time and then swap.
As bad as I am, I care more about her safety.
Yeah.
Dan is right to be concerned. Just 1 month after these interviews, Kristil will be dead. With the discovery of Kristil's body, Anthony Holland becomes the key person of interest in her murder. Within hours, police have located Anthony at a house in Eagle Mountain, Utah, a full 8-hour drive from Broomfield. Anthony tells detectives he's just back from a shopping trip to Salt Lake and has receipts to prove it. In fact, officers quickly corroborate Anthony's movements over the previous 24 hours, confirming that he was never in the vicinity of either Broomfield or Kristil. Police have just ruled out their prime suspect. An officer with Broomfield calls Anthony later that day.
I just want to know how this all happened, because I haven't, I know a little bit, something about Kristil and her husband and stalking charge, and I haven't been to Colorado since 2016, so it's like, I don't know how that could be possible. Last time I saw her was like 2000 when we broke up.
Okay.
The revelation about Anthony opens up an entirely new set of questions. If Anthony didn't kill Kristil, was he ever even her stalker? It won't be long before police have their answers. For now, detectives turn their attention to another person of interest, Kristil's husband, and the last person to see Kristil alive. On the afternoon of Kristil's murder, friends and family are taken to the Broomfield police station. Police want to learn more about the nature of Dan's relationship with Kristil. There's just one issue. They're unable to share what they know about Anthony to Kristil's family.
So your understanding, I guess, of it's the ex-husband who's been kind of...
It's not a husband, it's an ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend.
From when she was 18 years old.
Okay, gotcha.
For prom or whatever, high school, he was at her house, he was sitting on the couch.
Yeah, okay. And can you think of any, I guess, recent, has he reached out to you? Have you seen any...
No, he's never contacted me. I'm fully aware of all the transcripts and everything that he's been harassing Kristil with. And the threats that have been made. And I'm familiar with the hose that got stuck up her tailpipe for carbon monoxide thing, and that she's been in constant fear of this for as long as this has been going on. She's been carrying, I've been carrying, because Rick Basher, who's the chief of police for Lafayette, he's a good friend of mine. And he said, well, sometimes those guys, they like to torture their victim by nailing a family member.
Okay.
And so he's advised me to, open carry all the time. And
absolutely. Okay.
And same thing with Kristil. We've gone out shooting together, and she's a damn good shot.
Okay, that's good.
She was. I just really want to know what happened.
Yeah, and that's what we're working to figure out, I promise.
Will anyone be in touch with me to let me know? Or?
Yep, absolutely.
More recently, we learned that her and Dan's relationship was not well. I think she had approached Dan about the potential of getting a divorce, and then he either wanted to work on it or just didn't want to leave the kids. And so she kind of opened up to me a little bit about that ice cream night, and just how she did not really want to be in the marriage anymore. I know that Kristil was very concerned and worried about this guy, and I just always felt like it was there was something weird about it, but I can't put my finger on it. It just it was I feel like she had said that that it was this Anthony guy, that it seemed very different than past behavior in him, that he was never sexual in the past, and that these were very hypersexual things. And so I think even at one point she was questioning whether it was actually him. And then he was always out to get Dan, basically. His texts were send me the signal and I'll get Dan or something so that we can be together. So I don't know, something feels weird about it. But.
And I know she told me when we went on walks in September and that, and she admitted, you know, that her marriage was over, but Dan didn't want to admit it, and he was kind of in denial about the whole thing.
Did she ever give you insight on what kind of led her to feel like her marriage was over, or?
He could give, Dan is explosive, but I've never seen him, you know, hurt her. He would hurt the kids, but, you know, some people think the corporal punishment is okay with kids, but he would hurt the kids. She was worried about that.
So she, if I understand correctly, they were having troubles in their marriage, and she...
Dan was in denial.
She was going to end the marriage, but stay.
She wanted to end the marriage, but she said she felt that she couldn't because Dan was too violent with the kids, and if they split custody, she worried about the kids with Dan.
Okay.
Because Dan could be more violent.
Did she ever, like, describe what that violence looked like?
I saw it a couple times where he would grab and pull, and he's pretty scary when he gets angry.
Have you seen him get to that state?
Yeah.
Okay. And was that a common thing in their marriage for him to get kind of, I think you used the word explosive earlier.
Yeah, because he's real calm on the surface.
Okay.
It's real calm, and then he gets explosive when he loses it. But he was learning to walk away from it when you get too angry. I mean, she would berate him. It wasn't a good situation in their marriage, and here in the last few months, she just loathed him. I kept thinking, why are you staying? You should go. But she was like, no, she had to stay for the kids. And she could stay, and then this whole thing with Anthony, or this stalker situation came. She told me that, you know, Dan was not doing her any favors. He says he would go in and say that she's making it all up in her head, and
So Dan was aware of the entire stalking going on.
But she felt like he just didn't really take it seriously.
This comment isn't lost on detectives. It completely contradicts the account that Dan gave police several weeks earlier.
I don't know if you've ever met someone that you just, the vibe just, it's not, but it's always been that way with him for me. And it's not that he's ever done anything that's cruel. He can be cruel in some of his statements. But, you know, or biting in some of his remarks. But then on the other side, he's then been a perfect gentleman. And
you guys just didn't jive, it sounds like.
No, yeah. Didn't jive. A whole lot, no. I never felt comfortable with him, ever. And I didn't really want them to be married. But I supported them 100%. Yeah. And I told him many times, you know, I was wrong. A couple times, because he was always such a good helper to her. But then I saw that violent part of him, and then I saw what he was doing to the kids, and then it was like, and then I think Kristil came to a point where she was just like, okay, this just marriage is not going to work, and she was ready to end her marriage. She says it's over, and she just couldn't stand him these last few months. She just seethed with anger. I could hear it in her voice. She just couldn't stand him. And she said he's in complete denial about the whole thing. But then we set that aside because she had to deal with this whole Anthony mess.
As the interviews continue, investigators examine the contents of Kristil's phone. What they find will later prove to be crucial in the case. Shortly after 8 a.m. that morning, someone deactivated 3 of the 4 surveillance cameras in the Krug home using Kristil's phone. Several messages had also been written between 8 and 8:20 a.m., but instead of being sent, they were scheduled for delivery at different times that morning. For detectives, one thing is clear: Kristil would not have disabled her own home surveillance cameras or written messages with scheduled sending times, which leaves just one chilling possibility. Her killer had used her phone after Kristil was already dead. This is Carrie. A background check on Daniel Krug unearthed some troubling information. 20 years ago, someone filed a protective order against Dan for stalking. That person was Carrie. Police call her down to the station for an interview. She tells detectives that she dated Dan during her final year of high school but broke up with him soon after starting her freshman year of college. And it was soon after this that she began receiving mysterious messages from a man named Tom.
I started to get messages from his roommate, and that person's name is Tom, on AOL Instant Messenger. And I know Tom is real because they were roommates. If I called him, Tom would sometimes pick up the phone. They had a joint room and a joint phone. So Tom, his role, I would say, was sort of to gain sympathy from me for Dan and continue to encourage me to communicate with Dan. So I would get messages like, Dan had a really bad day, and I'm not being like, I'm not sure that these are verbatim, right? But I'm like, from what I remember, it was messages to encourage me to either talk to Dan, reach out to Dan, or say, you know, like, he's having a bad day, can you connect with him, kind of thing.
Out of concern, Carrie kept in touch with Dan. Everything appeared to settle down until she and some girlfriends met some cadets from a nearby Air Force Academy.
I got a message from someone named Nick Clark. That's the name I recall. And Nick basically said, I'm a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I know you went out with these people. I don't know if he named them specifically, but I know you went out with these people, and I want you to know that he came back, or these people came back and said that you slept with him. And so now there's this rumor going around the whole academy that you're an easy target, kind of thing. So of course this is really alarming to me, not true, all of that sort of thing. So myself and my friends go to the dorm room of these people that we had met from the Cadet Air Force Academy, and we confront them, and, you know, they're like, what are you talking about? This is, you know, complete BS. After that, I started dating dating 2 dates, someone on my own campus. His name was Paul Padilla. Again, we did something stupid, like, you know, we went to play miniature golf. I mean, really innocent kind of stuff. And I think it was shortly after that I started to get these really disturbing phone calls. And so again, I had a landline too in my room that I think was part of a central campus phone system, so the last 4 digits were unique to my room. And the phone calls were, someone had bought a voice distortion, like the really deep, scary kind of voice machine that I guess you can speak into, and I don't know what these look like, but you could tell that's what I was hearing.
Carrie filed a police report, but it went nowhere. Then a boyfriend connected her with the Department of Special Investigations at the Air Force Academy.
I sat with them, and they kind of laid the emails out on the table, and they said, we've had like a forensic psychologist or some sort of a psychological kind of reading sort of professional look at all these emails, and it's Dan, is what they said.
Later, they traced the emails to a library at Dan's university campus. Tom, Nick Clark, both were Dan. Carrie's story changes everything. It's now clear to police that if Dan was capable of stalking and impersonation 20 years ago, he was capable of doing the same thing again. Police are now forced to consider the unthinkable, that for months, possibly years, Dan posed as Anthony, creating fake accounts in order to harass, threaten, and terrorize Kristil. What police don't yet realize is that Kristil had already begun to work this out for herself. Kristil's stepmother, Donna, had seen her on the Monday before she died. Police believe she could have vital information on Kristil's state of mind in the days prior to her murder, and call her to the station for an interview.
This never goes from here, right? She did say something that to me on Monday that was alarming. She did say that she felt like she couldn't even rule Dan out at that point.
Why did you
I don't know
why
what
did
she
you say
meant.
that?
I don't know. I think it's just she just didn't trust anybody anymore, maybe. I don't know. Okay. She did say that. She knew he was going to kill her. I mean, she said that multiple times. I know he's coming from. So I did text her, because, you know, she, like I said, she came in on Monday to get that car. Or the car.
The purse. Yeah.
And yesterday, I texted her at 9:30 last night. And I said, been thinking of you, hope things are quiet, which means hopefully she wasn't getting any weird texts from the stalker. And I never heard anything back from her, which is really kind of odd, because she usually always will text me.
Kristile's stepsister, Jenna, reinforces Donna's account. Kristile had begun to suspect that Dan himself might be behind the terrifying incidents.
I don't know what information you have, but I know her and her husband have had problems.
Okay.
They were separating. You know, she used the word that, you know, she hated him, and she would get angry. And I really don't even want to think that Dan could have done this, but I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Because it's in the garage.
No, absolutely.
I know she has cameras on her car. And one of the other instances of the stalking was there was, the exhaust pipe was clogged, and it was in the garage. And so that was one of the things that made me suspicious, but I never talked to her about that suspicion. Please don't mention anything about my Dan suspicions to Dan.
Kristile's stepdad had his own personal suspicions about Dan, as did her own father.
It was just, from my perspective of it, you know, as she talked about this stalker that knew exactly where she was and how she was doing things, and I'm like, an evil genius. Right. You know, it's like, wow, you know, he could tell where you're at from, you know, and she talked about, I think it was his car or something, it had been seen or all this stuff. And it just went on, and I'm like, man, this cat should be a movie. I mean, he's good. Yeah. You know, and then it goes on, and she goes, you know, and the sad thing is, she says, I can't even rule out my husband. And I'm like, huh? What the?
That guy's always had that strange vibe to him that,
Can you elaborate on that vibe a little better?
Well, from the first time I met him, I just had this. He's just. I called him the slick politician. Is what I called him. Because he comes up with stories about just about it. You know, he manipulates things. He's always manipulated things to his own advantage, and had that used car salesman feel to him. Sure. That just repulses me. And I brought, when he wanted to marry Kristil, I even talked to Kristil about that. I said, are you sure you can, I mean, this guy, he just doesn't come across right. And apparently he knew I felt that way about him, because he apparently told me that my son, had mentioned to him that your dad has never liked me. Oh yeah, you're damn right, I never liked you. That's a correct observation. From the first time I met him, I just had this guy ain't right.
With Dan now their main suspect, officers head to Dan's place of work at the Colorado Department of Public Health to verify his whereabouts that morning.
So this is this is where his office is.
Okay.
I just need to remember. I know where he used to sit.
Yeah. And is he the only one that working here today?
I believe so. Yeah. I can look at who the other gentlemen's batch history, but they usually trade off days. Chances are that Joel isn't here.
Is this his backpack? Do you know? That he's seen?
I don't know.
Okay.
It could be Joel is in here. Maybe they worked, morning and.
Okay. Yeah, if we can confirm whether or not Joel's been here today or if he's in here, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
In fact, Dan didn't step into his office at all that day and had told a coworker he wouldn't be in.
So I work for the Broomfield Police Department. We're doing an investigation, and apparently that relates to Mr. Krug. We were directed over here by, I forget the gentleman's name, Greg, I think. So we're kind of looking into stuff. Have you been here most of the day?
Yeah, I've been here all day.
Oh, you have? Okay. So curious, is that your backpack?
Yeah.
The blue backpack? Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, we're office buddies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was he here earlier today?
Not as far as I know, because I sent him an email saying I was going to be in, so he said I could have the office, and he wasn't planning to come in.
Okay.
Knowing he'd come into the building, officers speculate that he sat out of surveillance camera view. They search the meeting rooms, bathrooms, and outside dumpster for evidence, but they come up empty-handed. With mounting evidence all pointing in one direction, officers take Dan into an interview room at the Broomfield Police Station. With Dan watching on, the detective would scroll through Dan's phone while Detective Martinez sits at the table in front of him, effectively cornering him. The officers are sending Dan a clear message. He's no longer in control of the situation. But, as you'll see, Dan's no ordinary suspect. With a lifetime dedicated to deceiving and manipulating people, Dan's preparing to go all in on his act as the shocked and grieving husband.
Dan, I know this is the last thing in the world that you ever want to experience. We're trying to do our very best to figure everything out. Okay? So I understand you have 2 phones with you. Those phones are, you said one's a work phone and one is your personal, right? And who has the ability to turn off the cameras? Who has the ability to go in the app and turn these off?
Kristil, me, and
God, it's all right. It's all right, Dan.
and house phone.
House phone.
I know. I did what you said. Call the police. Couldn't reach you. Call the police. I did what you said. I didn't protect her. It's not your fault. I was to protect her.
What's your guys' interactions been like leading up to this?
There's an important reason Detective Martinez is asking this, as you'll soon see. He's steering Dan towards a narrative in which he can paint himself as a victim, making him more likely to talk.
I felt like she was keeping secrets. Last night? No, not last night. No rehearsal last night. Tuesday. She left 2 hours early to get. No reason, just 2 hours early. She kept leaving early, coming home late. I asked, where? She wouldn't tell me.
In fact, these long spells which Kristil was mysteriously absent are pure fiction. Dan is engineering a scenario that allows for the possibility of other suspects, and he'll soon need this. Detective Martinez leaves Dan to sweat before returning with a second detective. The strain is clearly taking its toll on Dan. He begins talking with his eyes closed, a classic blocking behavior and a sign of cognitive overload. The officers again steer Dan towards the state of his relationship with Kristil. As Dan warms into the role of victim, his behavior becomes less staged, and what he's about to share will sound more like a chilling, camouflaged confession.
I made sure she always knew where I was, because the threats were against my safety and her just being abducted. she wasn't as honest, or I can't say honest, she wasn't as open about where she would go. And that it kept nagging at me.
Well, I'm sure, especially you guys are trying to work together to be safe, keep your family safe, keep your, as dysfunctional as it is, you still both had the common goal of keeping it safe, right?
And so, after our earlier interview, with things nagging at me and her not answering my questions, I got to a point where it wasn't an ultimatum, but it was I had her as a partner to protect the family, but it didn't feel like a partner who valued me. And I told her at that point, I told her I didn't want to die for someone who didn't care about me anymore.
So do you think she wanted to get a divorce? Or do you think is that why she shut you down? Like, we're not doing anything until this is over? When you kind of had your epiphany of like, it sounds like you feel like you were completely, I don't know, written off by her, or that she had zero care for you anymore.
I don't want a divorce.
Okay.
I've loved her for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting when I said that, and what I wanted was her to say she cared about me. She didn't. And she was ready for a divorce. Please don't read anything into this. I'm just using the word.
You need to be just completely
the flimsy rationale.
Yeah, well, feel completely like you can be honest in here, and that's what we expect, and that's what we want from you. We want the raw details and how you're feeling, and you don't need to censor yourself, believe me.
That felt flimsy. Why are you leaving 2 hours early to get her? It takes 25 minutes to get there.
Do you ever say, what are you doing at that time? Or you just kind of let it go, and then it sort of festers probably, and you wonder, and then you start filling in the blanks yourself, or...
I try asking, but she's very protective of that information. And that kind of caused the doubt, that nagging.
Sure.
I want to believe her.
What do you think happened today with Kristil? What do you think? What's your theory?
I don't know.
Well, you gotta have one. I mean, I'm sure a million different thoughts have run through your mind. What do you think happened?
In my brain, the story that I have is someone came to the door. Maybe she went outside to get a package, and they must have come in. And she's a fighter. She's strong. She would have fought. That's why I warned them when I was at the house, and I asked, did she get any shots off? She has a gun. She had to have been surprised, but without a doubt, she fought.
But if she would have just answering the door for a package, you think she would have been packing, answering the door? I mean, does she do that all the time?
Well, the Amazon drivers just drop something and go.
Right.
So, with or without a gun, she's a fighter.
Okay. And why do you say that? Have you guys fought before, or you just know that?
No.
Okay.
I know her.
Okay.
She refuses to be a victim.
Dan doesn't know it yet, but the officers are about to drop a bombshell. Over the course of that afternoon, the electronic data police requested weeks ago, including the IP addresses and the GPS data, has come through. The threatening emails came directly from an email account created on the computer network at Dan's work. A burner phone used to terrorize Kristil was purchased at Walgreens using a gift card in Daniel's name, and at various times its location data matches that of Daniel's cell phone. Meanwhile, on Dan's computer, officers discover that the day before Kristil was murdered, Dan had made the following Google searches. When is a head injury a cause for concern? How hard would you have to hit someone in the head to make them unconscious? And how long can you be unconscious without brain damage? Officers are now ready to reveal this explosive evidence.
One of the things that we really started looking into today in effort to find Anthony is what is it? The Gmail. What was the other?
Text now numbers.
The text now numbers and things like that. And
I don't know what text now is.
It's like an app that you can get fake phone numbers and contact people through Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So some of that information that we've been able to receive today is a little bit, I don't know, concerning, I guess. The Gmail account that, and you can speak more specifically.
And that text now number we were talking about, the number that he initially texted Kristil from. The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
It doesn't make any sense. Well, he took the photo of me at my office.
Right. But both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that list back to your office.
I don't know what to do with that.
Well, tell us about the IP address. Do you know anything about the network or anything at your work? Or
I do money.
Yeah, I know, but like here, I believe me, I know nothing about tech stuff. That's why I keep looking to him to explain this crap. I still know
there are Wi-Fi access throughout the facility for employees, and there's public Wi-Fi access throughout the entire facility.
Okay.
CPHE guest, I think is what it is. And we literally post the passwords in every single meeting room.
For all his bad acting, Dan has just navigated the curveball with ease. The officers will now raise the heat a little further. Watch Dan match this new threat with contempt. The detectives will now use an interrogation tactic known as the read technique. This involves pushing the suspect to the brink of panic before offering them a way out in the form of confession to a lesser crime. In this case, detectives have already presented Dan with an airtight and damning case, evidence that could convict him for life. They now offer him a final lifeline.
I sympathize with the fact that you're in an extremely frustrating situation, and I don't think that your married life is anything that I would want to be a part of. I know you want to be a part of your kids' lives. So all I'm saying is I can understand, or I can try to understand how frustrating or how frustrated you must feel. But you can also sense that's why we're asking all these questions about infidelity and everything else. Is there some other mystery man that we don't know about? Or is this a case of...
I have been faithful. Period. I want to believe that she has, but I don't know. Is there another person? I don't know. There has to be someone else.
That was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to access password protected system to turn off cameras that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect. Well, tell me. Help me make sense of it.
I don't know, I'm not the one who does this. I'm analytical at work, and I read and write fiction at home. I don't do crime drama. I don't know what any of this is.
She was not putting you in the most masculine light. And when your buttons are pushed far enough, people break, people snap, people act out, people do things that they might regret without thinking. And it could be just the littlest button in the end that causes that.
Dan doesn't break. He'll now confidently offer alternative explanations. He seems completely convinced that police will simply accept his version of events and let him walk free.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I think we still have a lot of unanswered questions. But, I mean, I'd like to know what happened this morning.
Despite the growing body of evidence against Dan, police still do not have enough to arrest him for murder. For now, they are forced to let him walk. On their way out of the station, Dan has some final words for the detective. If Officer Martinez needed any last proof that Dan is truly deluded, it's this.
Did she put up a fight? I don't know. I genuinely do not know that. What I told my kids, because that was the first thing that I didn't want you to fight. I have to believe that Mommy was strong. Because she was a good mom for my daughters. So I told her we know Mommy fine.
Officers now race to gather the evidence they need for an arrest. Dan is staying at his sister-in-law's house, and his strange behavior has been raising red flags with Kristil's mother.
Anyway, what he said yesterday, and he was just mulling things over. I think we were all feeling that, you know, we're not eager to get back into that. I'm not eager to visit the house where my daughter died. And he's saying he doesn't want to bring his kids back into the house. He doesn't want to go back in the house. But he then started talking about selling the house right away. But then he's not sure because that loses money. And then, you know, so he could just be talking things through in his head. But what really struck me is that he was talking about throwing her things out, you know, and I can get rid of her. You know, he actually said I can get rid of her bras and underwear and, you know, t-shirts and whatever, and you know, we can put the dresses and shoes that the kids love down away and zip them away. And you know, this may be just Dan's way. He's quirky and weird of dealing with it, but it just did not sit right with me at all.
On December 16th, police have enough evidence to recreate a timeline of the events leading up to Kristil's death. Digital evidence shows that starting in October, Dan had created multiple fake accounts in Anthony's name in order to send lewd and threatening messages. They surmised that his motive was to drive Kristil back to him. But with the plan failing and Kristil growing increasingly suspicious, Dan had switched course, hatching a new and even more diabolical plan. On December 13th, he researched head injuries online. Shortly before 8 a.m. on December 14th of 2023, he disabled the home surveillance cameras and masked over the doorbell camera. He then waited in the garage for Kristil to return from dropping their two children off at school, and he ambushed her, striking her multiple times with a blunt object and fatally stabbing her in the heart. To throw the timeline, he used Kristil's phone to send several texts. Surveillance footage from a neighboring house captured Dan leaving the home at 8:24 a.m., 30 minutes later than usual. Soon afterwards, he deactivated his car's dash camera and stopped briefly to pick up a coffee, where eyewitnesses said that he seemed unperturbed and composed. By 8:35, he arrived at work. Instead of going into his office, he sat in an area of the building out of sight of any surveillance cameras. At 8:56 a.m., Kristil's message arrived on his phone, more than a half an hour after her phone had last been used. He attended a meeting and around noon began messaging and calling Kristil before sounding the alarm with police and Kristil's mom, Linda. The murder itself had been meticulously executed. Investigators were unable to find any physical evidence that would link him to the crime. The weapons were never found, nor any blood-stained clothing. But Dan had not covered all of his tracks. A detailed digital trail had been left during his stalking spree, including incriminating Google searches the day before Kristil's murder. His movements were unaccounted for during the half-hour window in which Kristil was killed. He had access to the home surveillance app, and he turned off his dashcam to hide his actions soon after leaving the house that morning. Daniel pleads not guilty. During his trial, District Attorney Kate Armstrong told jurors she was putting the pieces together, and he was running out of time.
This was about Dan losing control. He was not in love with Kristil, and that resentment had turned to rage by the time we get to December 14th. Think about what he did to her. You don't do that to somebody you love. Think about the absolute nightmare and hell that he made the last few months of her life.
In April of 2025, Daniel Krug was found guilty of first-degree murder, stalking, and criminal impersonation. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Kristil Krug did everything she could to protect herself and her children. She documented every threat, informed authorities, shared her suspicions with family and friends, and set up the home surveillance cameras, which would later become so crucial in the case against Dan. But her killer was closer than she could have ever imagined. In the end, her efforts helped put a monster behind bars, but not in time to save her own life. We would like to extend our sincere condolences to the friends and family of Kristil Krug, who was taken from this life far too soon.